So you're not lazy. You've been lied to, and that lie has cost you years of your life. Hi, I'm Mark, and I've run companies for over 50 years, from land development and luxury home building to operating a trucking firm where I personally drove over 1 million miles. And after all that time, I discovered something that changed everything. What's actually stopping you is way more dangerous than laziness. And if you don't fix it, you'll be stuck here 5 years from now. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's hijacking your brain, the 4 types of ambitious but stuck people, and simple systems that works even on your worst days. Here's what nobody tells you. Your brain is lying to you right now. Your brain is designed to protect you from threats, and it's misidentifying your ambitions as threats. Look at the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Maybe it's starting a new business, getting in shape, or finally doing that thing that you've been putting off. What does your brain see? Risk, potential failure, embarrassment, financial loss, having to admit you couldn't do it. So your brain shuts you down before you even start, makes you feel exhausted, makes you look for distractions, convinces you that scrolling through your phone is somehow urgent. And then, here's the clever part, it labels all of this as laziness so you don't have to face what's really happening. You're scared, but fear never actually goes away. I spent 7 years hauling high-value and oversized loads across the country. Trucks could break down in the middle of nowhere. I was hauling loads worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, weather that could kill me. The fear was constant, but I learned something critical. Fear and action can coexist. You don't wait for the fear to leave. You get better at recognizing it and moving away from it. Now, here's what's going to make you angry. And I need to tell you this now before we go any further. The reason you've been stuck isn't because you lack discipline or willpower. It's because you've been using a system designed for people with completely different brain wiring than you. All that advice about just push through and build habits, that works great for people who don't have high levels of task aversiveness. But for people like us, ambitious but paralyzed, it's like telling somebody who's drowning just to swim harder. Doesn't work. We're already trying. We're just fighting the wrong battle. That's what I'm about to fix. But first you need to know which type of person you are. There are 4 types who feel ambitious but can't take action. And if you're using the wrong strategy for your type, you'll just dig yourself deeper. Type 1 is the perfectionist. You don't start because nothing feels good enough. You'll spend 3 hours researching the perfect way to do something instead of just doing it badly. You're terrified that if you try and it's not excellent, that means you're not capable. Your brain would rather preserve the idea of your potential than risk discovering that you're average. Type 2 is the serial starter. You probably have 5 different projects sitting unfinished on your desk right now. You get extremely excited about new ideas, dive in hard for a few days, then lose steam when it gets difficult. You're addicted to the dopamine hit of starting something new, and your brain hates the boring middle part where you actually have to grind. Type 3 is the drifter. You know you want something different, but you can't articulate what it is. So you bounce between goals, never sticking long enough to see the results. Your brain won't let you take action because it doesn't trust the direction. Type 4 is the frozen. You know exactly what you need to do, but the thought of actually doing it triggers deep anxiety. What if your life changes? What if people judge you? So you stay frozen, calling yourself lazy when really you're terrified of what success might cost you. Which one are you? Because I'm about to give you the 6-step system, and I'll tell you which steps work best for your type as we go. But let me tell you about the worst mistake I made first. For over a decade, I tried to solve this with motivation. I'd get pumped up, start strong, then crash within days. I'd beat myself up, call myself lazy, try again, same cycle over and over and over. Here's what I finally figured out. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions are temporary. You can't build a life on temporary feelings. What you need is a system. So here it is. Step 1, stop calling yourself lazy. Right now, I'm serious. Every time you label yourself as lazy, you're reinforcing an identity that it makes change impossible. You're not lazy. You're someone who hasn't learned how to work with your brain yet. That's a skill issue, not a character flaw. Working retail at 68 years old, after running my own companies for decades, I could have called myself a failure. Has been lazy for not building something faster, but I didn't. I called myself someone who was learning how to start over with wisdom. Small change, massive difference. This step works for all 4 types, but it's absolutely critical for perfectionists and the frozen. If you're in those categories, this is your foundation. Step 2, use the 5-second rule. When you know you need to do something, count backwards from 5 and physically move. Don't think, don't negotiate, don't wait until you feel like it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. This sounds stupidly simple, but here's why it works. Counting backwards interrupts your brain's pattern of avoidance, and physical movement creates momentum before your mind can talk you out of it. I use this every morning. My brain lists every reason to hit the snooze button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, feet on the floor. I bypass the negotiation entirely. This is especially powerful for serial starters and drifters. You need something that gets you moving without overthinking whether this is the right thing. Step 3, leverage the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain obsesses on unfinished tasks more than completed ones. So here's what you do. Don't try to finish things, just start them. Work on something for exactly 5 minutes. Set a timer. After 5 minutes, you can stop, guilt-free. Here's what happens. Some days, 5 minutes turns into an hour. Other days, you stop at 5. But either way, you've created an open loop in your brain, and your subconscious keeps working on it in the background, in the shower, on your commute, while you're cooking. You're tricking your brain into staying engaged without fighting it. Step 4, create your minimum viable effort. On your absolute worst days, what's the smallest action you can take and still call it progress? Not what you should do, not what you do on a good day, the bare minimum. When I was building my construction business, my minimum was making 1 phone call a day. That's it. Even exhausted, even feeling terrible, 1 call was achievable. And there were days when that's all I could do, but those days didn't break my streak. They proved I could show up even when it was hard. This step is critical for perfectionists. You need permission to do something poorly. And for serial starters, this keeps your momentum alive on days when the excitement has worn off. Step 5, simplify everything. Break your goals into steps so small they feel almost ridiculous. Don't say start a business. Say write 3 sentences about what problem I'd solve. Don't say get in shape, say put on workout clothes. The smaller the step, the less threatening it feels to your brain. When I was building websites, I'd break projects into absurdly small tasks. Create 1 new web page was a task. Create the navigation bar was a task. People thought I was overthinking it. I wasn't. I was removing every excuse my brain could manufacture to avoid starting. Step 6, change what you consume. If you're only watching success stories and highlight reels, you're training your brain on unrealistic patterns. Start consuming content from people who failed multiple times before succeeding. Study their mistakes. Understand that failure is data, not a verdict. When I ran my trucking company, I made plenty of mistakes. I took loads I shouldn't have. I trusted freight brokers I shouldn't have. I lost money on really bad loads. Every mistake taught me something. That's the mindset you need. Here's what determines whether any of this actually works. None of these steps matter if you're trying to force yourself down a path you don't actually want. You're chasing goals that sound good, but ones that other people approve of, that society says you should want. But deep down, you don't care. So let me ask you something. What problem do you care about solving? Not what should you do, not what would make you money, not what would impress people. What problem in the world genuinely pisses you off? Because ambitious people don't want success in the abstract. They're frustrated by something specific, something broken that needs fixing. For me, it's seeing talented people stuck in jobs that waste their potential. People who have much more to offer, and they're trapped in systems, but they don't value them. That frustration became fuel. And suddenly, working on my goals didn't feel like pulling teeth. It felt like a mission. So grab a piece of paper right now, not later, and write down every time in your life you felt genuinely angry or frustrated about something. Not mildly annoyed, actually angry. Those emotions are clues pointing towards problems you're wired to care about. This step is absolutely critical for drifters. You're stuck because you haven't found your problem yet. Once you do, everything starts clicking into place. But here's the part nobody wants you to hear. You have to make space for this. Your life is already full. Your time is already allocated. Your mental energy is already spent. If you try to squeeze new actions into your existing schedule, your brain's going to choose the path of least resistance every time. So what are you going to remove? What's stealing your time and energy without giving you anything meaningful in return? Social media, television, saying yes to every social invitation because you don't want to seem antisocial. You can't add without subtracting. That's just physics. Working in retail in my late 60s, I had a choice. I could spend my breaks scrolling through my phone, feeling sorry for myself, or I could use that time to work on rebuilding. I chose rebuilding, creating scripts for videos, new ideas. Is it comfortable? Not really, but comfort is what keeps people stuck for decades. And look, I know what you're thinking right now. I don't want to sacrifice my social life. I don't want to give up the things I enjoy. Okay, then accept where you are. I'm not saying that to be harsh. I'm not judging anyone who chooses comfort, but you need to understand you can't have both. Not at the beginning. Maybe once you've built momentum and systems, you can reintroduce some of those things, but right now, you need space. Here's what I've learned over 50 years of building things and starting over. Your emotions are going to lie to you. You'll feel motivated on Monday and completely dead by Wednesday. You'll have days where you question everything. Days where going back to your old pattern seems so much easier. Your brain will generate every excuse you can imagine. And if you wait until you feel like taking action, you're going to be waiting forever. This is where minimum viable effort saves you, because even on your worst day, you can do the bare minimum, and bare minimum repeated consistently beats massive sporadic effort every single time. Here's the truth. You're not going to wake up one day a different person. You won't suddenly have unbreakable discipline or endless motivation. That fantasy is what keeps people stuck for years, waiting for some magical transformation that honestly never comes. Transformation happens when you stop fighting your brain and start using simple systems that work with your psychology instead of against it. So here are 3 things you can do today in the next few minutes. First, identify which of the 4 types you are. Write it down. 1 sentence. If you're a perfectionist, write, I'm a perfectionist who's scared to be average. If you're a serial starter, write down, I start things but quit when it gets hard. Own it. Second, pick one of the 6 steps I just gave you, not all of them, just one, and use it tomorrow morning before 9 a.m., not next week, not when you feel ready, tomorrow morning. Third, remove one thing from your life that's stealing your energy. Delete the app right now. Cancel 1 subscription today. Say no to 1 commitment this week, just 1. And if you do these 3 things, actually do them, not just think about doing them, you'll prove to yourself that you're not lazy. You're just operating without the right system. And once you have it, everything starts changing. Now, the life you want isn't going to appear because you finally feel motivated enough. It's going to appear because you've learned how to take action without needing motivation. That's the dividing line. That's what separates people who build the life they want from people who spend decades wishing they had. You've got the ambition. Now you've got a system. The only question left is whether you're actually going to use it. Starting over doesn't mean starting from zero. It means starting from wisdom. And you've got more wisdom than you think. You've just been using it to beat yourself up instead of using it to move forward. Momentum doesn't last. You need to act while you still feel that little spark of potential. That spark is your signal. Don't waste it. Every day you wait is another day you're not building towards what you actually want. After almost 70 years on this planet, I can tell you there's no perfect time. There's only now. Now, if you're thinking about using YouTube as part of your path forward, and honestly, if you're over 50, it's one of the best moves you can make, then you need to watch this video, one of these corners, because I spent 12 years making every mistake possible on this platform. And in that video, I break down the 10 biggest mistakes that kill channels for creators over 50 and exactly how to avoid them before you waste years like I did. I'll see you there.